When we just get our regional customers back and our locals, we'll be at 10 to 15% of our turnover. When we get Melbourne back with the COVID safe story in place, we'll probably be at 50%. So it's imperative the government looks after us, because we can't run our business at 50%. It's not viable for us.
On Dirty Linen for these few days, we are travelling around regional Victoria, which has been allowed to partially reopen. I cannot help but feel pretty excited about this development. It's a slow step, but it feels like a big step, and everybody in Melbourne is watching with interest. We are willing the regions to do well so that we can reopen as well. And I'm so happy to be talking today to Anne-Marie Banting from the Daylesford Hotel. Anne-Marie, how are you going?
Oh, Dani, look, it's been a really tough road to get here, but yes, light at the end of the tunnel. So we're feeling pretty confident right now. We won't be opening straight away because it doesn't fit for our business.
Tell me why.
The Daylesford Hotel is a big old Federation two-storey hotel, the Grand Dame on the corner, and to open for 10 people in the main bar and 10 people in the dining room doesn't work for us financially. And when they say outside dining, right now it's probably 14 degrees outside and cloudy. And as soon as it hits about 4 o'clock, it drops dramatically. So, and it is also unpredictable. So one day we could, one day we can't, that sort of thing. That doesn't work for a business like ours. So we're going to wait till we can have 20 in the main bar and 20 in the dining room, and then we can turn over those covers, as we did in the first release after lockdown, and we had a maximum of 95 covers, and that gets us sort of halfway there. Normally on a Saturday night at the Daylesford, we'll do 180 to 200 mains. So, and it's a big girl to heat, you know, all those little costs don't add up to have 10 in each room.
Sure. And as the weather warms up, as we head more into summer, do you feel like outdoor dining will become more of a viable proposition?
Well, right now, Rosie and I are working on renovating our beer garden. We have a beer garden now that sits, covert sits, about 40, but we also have a back car park that's on a bit of a slope. So we're looking to do some earth movement and create a second beer garden that would probably seat 70 covert safe. So that will increase our beer garden to about 120 covers. We also have a veranda, and with the COVID safe sitting plan up there, we've got 40 outside, and then out on the front concourse in front of the hotel, we can COVID safely sit about 20. So on a beautiful sunny day, terrific. But we don't really count those days until really late November, December, and it's still variable. And again, at night time, the temperature drops dramatically. So I guess those big outdoor areas at night time won't come into play till January, February, March. And there's been some glorious evenings in that time of the year. So then we'll be humming.
Yeah. It's as I hear you rattle off these numbers, I can also sense a lot of conversations that have led to you being able to just list them off in the way that you have. Like, there's obviously so many calculations, so much planning, so many looking at variables. Can you talk about, like, so you run the pub with your partner Rosie? Can you talk about what she brings to the business, what you bring, and just talk about how you both talked your way through this situation?
Yeah, definitely, Dani. Rosie Hebel is my business partner. Rosie's also my life partner. Rosie came into the business when my other business partner, Graham Bamford, retired. Rosie took up his share, so we're 50% owners each of the Daylesford Hotel. Rosie is a Sydney girl, and she worked for Solitel Group, which is one of the two largest pub groups in Sydney, and Rosie worked for them for 29 and a half years and left as operations manager. So Rosie brings a wealth of knowledge to our hotel. Myself, my background's a sommelier. I've had 4 businesses. My last business was in Perth, and it was Must Wine Bar. I was a partner in that. And I came up to this region in 2009, I think, and worked for Alla Wolf Tasker at the Lake House for 4 years. And then Graham and I bought the leasehold. So we don't own the whole hotel ground and fixtures and fittings. We own the business. So Rosie and I have to look at the figures from last year to map out what happens in this year. But now on that, we've got the COVID safe and COVID restrictions to then apply. So tracking our business, when we first went into lockdown on 23rd March, the business stopped. We went into hibernation. When JobKeeper came on board, we did really fantastic hamburgers through our drive-through bottle store plus the bottle store. But to be honest, that turned over $5,000 in the 4 days that we had it open. So, there's not a lot of money in hamburgers, and we were using, Wagyu beef that we ground up from the Sher family. We were making our own bread rolls because we've got a wonderful baker in our hotel, Chef Jen. So we were trying to do the right thing, push ahead, keep the morale up. We were using the JobKeeper money to keep our kids employed and connected, but in the long run, it didn't actually make us any money. So then we were allowed to open again, and we did. And first of all, we were tracking at about 40% to 45% when we had Melbourne. Then Melbourne was locked down, and we lost the Melbourne trade, and we dropped back to maybe 10% of our normal turnover. We only are a village of about 4,000 people, and there's 4 hotels in our Daylesford and Hepburn region, and there's plenty of other little wine bar with Wine Speak who are doing terrific things, and lots of restaurants where you can pop in and have a plate and a glass of wine. So there's plenty of competition for those 4,000 people to spend their money in. So that became very hard. And then we went into the second lockdown. And with that, we've closed the old girl completely, put her into hibernation, turned everything off except a main cool room, because the old girl leaks money in terms of electricity and overheads. We're currently just about to go to mediation with our landlords because they are still trying to get rent. They did give us and graciously gave us 2 months, but then they expect us to pay 70% of our rent, and our rent is very high. And we can't pay that when it's shut, but cash flow ceases. So that's where we are right now. But right now we have some light coming.
It's we spoke to Sonia Anthony from Bendigo, from Masons of Bendigo, yesterday on the podcast, and Bendigo is a very different town to Daylesford. I think some people in Melbourne might think, they're both towns a couple of hours away or an hour and a half, whatever it is. But they're very different in the way that they operate as businesses and the way that those businesses are supported and funded. So Bendigo is a larger place, and it's able the locals are able to support the businesses that are there. Of course, they love tourists as well, but Daylesford is quite different, isn't it? It really does rely on those day trippers and weekenders from Melbourne to keep the businesses running.
Definitely, Dani. We're a hospitality town. We're a tourist town. We've been the spa capital of Australia. With Ella, with the beautiful two-hatted lake house. Everybody comes to our region because it's an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes for me, quickly, from Melbourne, so it's easily accessed from the airport as well by an hour and 15 minutes. So tourism drives this town. It's the biggest employer of this town. So we, as businesses, rely on it. It's not like Ballarat and Bendigo that have larger populations and they have suburbs. We are just a tiny little 4,000 pax town.
Yeah, it's a great town. And last time I was there, I actually stayed at the Daylesford Hotel, but I didn't see you. You were it. I'm sorry too. I only just stayed there. So I used it as accommodation because you've got those rooms upstairs, giving onto the big veranda. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's
good
a
view up
good
there.
view and it's a good town and it's a good old girl, that pub. And it's exciting to think about her coming back to life.
Yes, and we're giving her a bit of spit and polish and making her sing again. The old dame, when we took over in 2013, it was her 100-year anniversary. So we gave her a facelift and a party. And we've been loving being the custodians of her because she's got great bones and a great energy. And I'm also talking about our staff. I'm also very grateful and very lucky we have excellent staff who, look, years ago, Margot Grace in Western Australia, I worked for a gorgeous lady and she taught me hospitality. And hospitality is like welcoming somebody into your home. And the first thing is you greet them, you make them comfortable, and you offer them everything you've got to offer, and then you thank them for coming. And I've held that and hopefully instilled it into I call them my kids, I'm allowed to now. I'm 57. Yeah, so Daylesford Hotel, it should be full of hospitality because that's what we're about.
I mean, when you have that ethos, it must be so strange to not be able to give that, to not be able to offer that to people and to walk through your pub and she's closed. Like, tell me what that feels like.
Well, it freaks me out going down there at the moment, and I get anxiety around it, definitely. Um, but we still have to pay bills. We still have to communicate. We still have to, think of our business every day. So we're definitely still connected. But like I keep saying about this light at the end of the tunnel, doing the things, getting ready to open. Um, talking with chef and doing the beer garden upgrade. And today we polished the veranda floor upstairs. Doing those things is positive, and that's what we've got to find right now. Finding all the positives and looking forward to our future.
Yeah. What do you imagine will be the future? I mean, are you really waiting for Melbourne to be able to come up again? And when Melbourne is able to come up again, how, yeah, what does it look like? How do you anticipate your business springing back?
Gee, if you'd asked me a month ago, I would have burst into tears, Dani, because I couldn't have
Oh, Aunt
answered
Marie.
answered that very clearly. I saw Ella 2 weeks ago. We had a chat in her office, and she said, "What is it going to look like?" And still, I couldn't say. But I guess I can say now that when we just get our regional customers back and our locals, we'll be at 10 to 15% of our turnover. When we get Melbourne back with the COVID safe story in place, we'll probably be at 50%. So it's imperative the government looks after us because we can't run our business at 50%. It's not it's not viable for us.
What support are you looking for from the government? And what support, you've mentioned JobKeeper. Have you had other grants come through? Is that how you're doing the beer garden?
That's absolutely correct. We've had a couple of small parcels of money, first lockdown, second lockdown, and now we're looking at the grant for upgrading outside areas, and we're going to use that to do our beer garden. Because right now I have no money in the bank to do upgrades for beer gardens, and we need that extra seating in summer. So that's definitely going to help us. So I thank the government for that. But they've got to continually look at how we are all travelling, both, our Melbourne cousins and the rest of our regions, because we're on a precipice.
Yes. So what kind of support do you want?
Well, I'm very grateful for the grant. I'm very grateful for JobKeeper. I'm not grateful that JobKeeper is going to drop down. That's going to be really hard. And I'm telling you, Rosie and I are on JobKeeper, and that's all we're taking. And I've had to put my mortgage for my home on hold. Um, Luckily the Bendigo Bank has worked reasonably well with us, and it's lucky that I don't have to borrow more money. I don't want to be in that position because that just puts more stress and strain on us. So, look, we're sitting okay, but again, we need bums on seats and we need those tills ringing. Oh, and on
Absolutely.
those tills, Dani, Rosie is, and this is her forte, is working back a house to put a new till system in. So we're using government money that they gave us to buy a new till system, which will integrate with icons on the tables outside. People will put their mobile phone over the icon, and our menu will come up. They can order from that table the food and the beverage, and it will be delivered to their table, and they will pay on that icon and on their phone. So that's really going to help, because if you could imagine that big old girl having section waiters in every section trying to take orders and process orders, the staffing would be, it'd kill us.
Do you have misgivings about that, even though it's obviously essential from a financial point of view? Do you have misgivings about that from a hospitality point of view?
Look, it's not my preferred way. I'd love to see my customers coming up to the bar as they always have an interaction and get what they need and be comfortable. When we've been operating the business in this COVID scenario, we've had to take orders at the table. So I've had all these lovely pub kids. I've had to train them now to be proper section waiters, and that was fine because that's my background. But also you have to have more kids on the floor. So there's your staff numbers go up. That's why JobKeeper has been very helpful in keeping our wages, because I still have to employ other people that have come along a year later, not in the year that's designated for JobKeeper, and in the kitchen as well. So we haven't got all of our wages covered by JobKeeper, probably about half. So I'm still paying wages to other people.
Wow. So one of the things that's going to be talked about a lot is staffing and the issues around that, because a lot of temporary visa workers have left Victoria and indeed left Australia. Are you very reliant on backpackers and other workers coming in from elsewhere?
No, I'm not. But lovely Tammy Jonas that has Jonai Farm, Ella, big engine, like Ella would have 120 staff. She needs those visa holders. She needs them to staff up her restaurant because we don't have that level of trained employees up here. I mean, I know Ella has always wanted to put an Epicurean university up here, and I'd love to support that too. But, you know, I wouldn't want to be a Mildura fruit orchard waiting for Australian kids to put their hand up to go and pick fruit all day in the hot sun. We need visa holders. We need them for the big engines, like lovely Guy Grossi down there with, what's he got, 4 or 5 venues.
Restaurants? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they need them. And they need those lovely young Italian waiters that might come and stay for 2 years. It's it's the colour and movement of going to Grossi.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's certainly, I know that Ella at the Lake House definitely does rely on them, and if you we spoke to Ella in episode 1 of this podcast, so if you wanna listen back to that, I mean, goodness me, it's a couple of months since we spoke to Ella at the Lake House, and yeah, it's they're still I don't know if they're on the verge of opening, but it's a very tough road for a business like that, that does rely on international staff and has so many moving parts. So it's yeah,
Well, there's so many things to the Lake House now with, small luxury hotel, um, one two-hatted restaurant, the spa, the Wombat Cafe, and Dairy Flat Farm. So there is a lot of moving parts, and she would need those backpacking. Not that. Sorry, they're not backpacking. These guys are young professionals that are coming through Australia to do a couple of years of staging here and there to gain more experience and travel. And I did 4 years down there, and I trained lots of them coming through, and very much an integral part of Lake House. We don't have that. We have always had a good flow of young, good staff at our hotel. It's always been hard to get the right chef, but I've got a great chef, Bradley Jenkins, joining us for the first time. He's itching to get up here. He was at Middle Brighton Baths as senior sous chef, so I'm looking forward to him making his mark on our town. He's a lovely young man.
Great. Oh, well, it's there's so much to look forward to, but I guess such a tricky road as you try to get there.
Navigate out of this.
Absolutely, but
And goodness, I don't know what it's going to look like. So the 4 metre rule, Dani, that's the one that's killing us. That's halving our business. So when we can get released from that 4 metre rule is when we can get back into really proper turnover and profit. And I don't know when that's going to happen.
I don't know when that's going to happen either. I mean, it's released outdoors. So outdoors is the density is 2 meters per person, and then indoors still 4 meters. So I suppose where it can be relaxed, it is being relaxed, but it's certainly not making it easy for business. But on the other hand, having a pandemic running rampant through the community doesn't make things easy for business either. So it is certainly a tricky balance to strike.
And I do stand with Dan. I think that we've done the right thing, and we're doing the right thing, and it's the right path for Australia. And we should be very proud at the numbers and how that they're dropping, and everybody doing the right thing. So it is a worldwide pandemic. We've got to realise that we've got to do our part, but the government has to be able to shine a light on how we get out of there and how we keep our businesses.
Well, I certainly wish you and Rosie all the very best, Anne Marie, as you navigate your way through these new stages, these new regulations, and we'll be wishing for many beautiful, still sunny days with a full as it can be beer garden and veranda and footpath, and just looking forward to those numbers increasing indoors as well.
And I have to say, that your hospo voice that you've been doing for us has been so good, so encouraging, such a great platform to share. All of our, hospo mates have been on there having a whinge or having a cry or supporting each other. It's been marvellous. So we'll stand together and have a nice glass of Pinot Blanc at the Daylesford Hotel with you in the sunny days ahead.
So thank you so much, Anne-Marie, and I really do look forward to that. And just to clarify, so what Anne-Marie's talking about for anybody who isn't aware is that I moderate a Facebook group. It's a hospo owners support group for Victoria, and it's lovely to be filtering information and trying to assist in any small way that I can through this crazy time. But thanks for saying that, Anne Marie. It's there's just it's a flood of information, so it's good to try to filter it. And thank you so much for coming along and having a chat today. It's really great to hear where you're at and to hear where you're going. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Dani. Stay safe.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.